Good morning, everybody. Good morning, and good morning once again. It's Wednesday, September 4th, middle of the week for a lot of the working people, just the middle of the week for people in general. Today, I just want to talk about, you know, life in general, right? So, in this, we say that life has life has a flow to it, right? So, when most flows, we would like to think that flow is like water, and it has its ups and its downs. So since that comparison is being made, we're going to talk about life's water, right? Life in general is very big. It has a very large. It's the most important thing that most of us are considering, right? Life, living, and things of that nature. So if we compare that to water, we would say, some may say it's as large as oceans or things of that nature, right? So let's just go on and consider life to be like water, right? And so in most waters, right, we see a lot of ships. So there's a lot of different ships in life's water, right? And so I'm here today to just break it down. Tay, good morning. So I'm just breaking down a little something because there's a lot of ships in life's water, but I'm gonna give you a few examples of what ships I'm talking about, right? One of them is called friendship, right? And we know that friendship is a state of trust and support between allied people with common or conduct of friends. State of being friends in a relationship. That's what a friendship is, right? We also have something called a ship called partner, right? That's the state of being with a individual or individuals, right? Two or more people. And it's ran down and pretty much seen like in businesses and more importantly, uh, relationships, boyfriend, girlfriends. We also have something called companionship. It's a feeling of fellowship or friendship, or and rather, to be in presence with one that you like. We have fellowship, which is a friendly association with people who share one's interests. That is a fellowship or colleague or in society. That's fellowship, right? And then the big one. The big one is relationship. Two or more people, objects, and concepts that are connected to each other. So those are the ships that we normally, a lot of us have been on. There's more, but I just want to focus on these few that I just named, right? So most of us know that we have all been in relationships, right? It's a very nice view of the. It's a very large. You can see a lot in a relationship, and it varies as well, right? Because most of us think that a relationship is pretty much about you interacting with someone you like, trying to elevate it into something greater, right? As far as boyfriend, girlfriend. But relationship also is so big that we confuse it with a lot of the other ships, or we put it together, or we merge it with a lot of the other ships, right? Which is understandable, but we have to understand each individual ship has its different qualities and its different like likeness, right? So when we say relationship, like I said, everybody gets on that ship. Everybody takes a sail on it because that's just the way we have to travel through life. We're not meant to be by ourselves, but as far as a relationship, you know, it's a very large ship, right? So then it's sailing, and then you notice people start to get in on and off that ship, right? Because some people can handle a ship. Commander, good morning. Good morning, Nines. Right? Some people can handle the waves of the water that the ship is on. Some people can't. Some people don't like the way it's sailing. They will abandon that ship, right? That's just a part of that's just certain things, right? And a lot of us get on these things with no expectations, right? Some people just have them just to have them. Some people just to say that I've done it. You know what I mean? So we have to understand that this large variation of the relationship, it can take us in many different directions. And while it could lead us to other ships and waters, most of us, it's fair to say that we have all been on that ship, right? But how do we compare that ship to companionship, right? Let's just make a comparison, right? So, like I said, companion is someone we a feeling of fellow or friendship or in in likeness with somebody. A lot of us definitely been on this, but I think that a lot of us, like I said, we have a tendency to get on this ship and try to see different places that we're not supposed to be going to on this ship as well, right? Because if a companion is someone that we have feelings for, or a fellowship, or a friendship, or someone that we're trying to date, as far as raising the expectations, we're only supposed to be on that ship going to see beautiful scenes, right? A relationship, it goes anywhere. It's no all right, the next stop is this, right? It's a continuous motion. But with companionship, you with individuals that have a like mind with where you guys are going. So you should be on with like-minded people. And when you're with like-minded people, there may be, there may be great conversations. There may be great uh 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 interactions, whether it's over a meal or just, sitting out on the boat with the views that we're getting, right? But all the time, some of the time, the conversation could go left or right, but the goal should still be the same. And if it's not the same, we're waiting to see land and then get off that ship. But a lot of us get off that ship pretty quickly, right? Because of like I said, because of the waters may not be what we like. We test the waters. We don't like the view of it, the perception of where we're going, and we get off of those ships, right? Then we have partnership, right? Now we all know that a partnership consists of one other person, right? So you always know that there's always going to be someone on that ship with you, and that too is just something like companionship, but this can be for business and for pleasure. It could be a vacation, or it could be a way of living for you when you think about a partnership, right? It's like a dual cruise. And so in the partnership, there has to be there has to be conversation. Communication is always going to be key in this thing, because you have to hear that person and that person has to hear you. And if you guys agree, you you know the partnership elevates. If there's more disagreement, that business, that cruise, that situation ends up, it fails because there's no agreement. So a partnership is something, that a lot of people, you know, they there's people that love partnership because it's no, unlike, it's a relationship, but it's not a relationship, because it could be strictly business. But if it's in a relationship, it's ran differently than any other ship. It's ran differently from the companionship, and it's definitely, it's on the same waves and waters as a relationship, but it go into a different destination as well. Fellowship is one that a lot of people have been on, but they really associate fellowshipping with, for the most part, if you say let's go fellowship, a lot of people thinking about you going to church, you going to get your a religious aspect of fellowship, but it's more than that. Sometimes that ship, it seems to go in rare waters, because we just don't view it as any other thing but church fellowship, right? But it does, it can go outward. It can go in a different direction as well. It's not just going to the hot spots. It can go to, you know you can fellowship, and it can run cold, because if you understand that it has to be an association. To associate means you have like you are you are on the same page. You are like-minded people to an extent, but it may not go no further than just, you know highs and buys. It's more of a situationship, which I won't be speaking about. But we have the same interests. We have the same destination. So let's get on that ship and see where it goes. And you know, all of these ships, I'm saying, right? We have a tendency to mix it up. Some of us get on the wrong boat. We get on a relationship, and we think we're just only going to have a friendship, right? Some of us have companionship, but only want to fellowship. Some people have partnerships and just, you know, want to be on a friendship. However, it is, we have to understand that the people that's on that ship must have the lines of communication. It must be open, and it must be clear. There should be no blockage in the waters of these ships, because when there is a blockage, 9 times out of 10, it'll slow up whatever ship that you're on, right? And if it slows up whatever ship you're on, it's not gonna be smooth sailing for you. You have to navigate with these ships and with the people on these ships. You have to make sure that those people are doing well. They have everything that they need, and things of that nature. But let's just say there's a blockage in the water. Let's say there's an iceberg like the Titanic, right? How do we navigate? How do we get around that? How do we slow the boat down? How are we aware? Shout out to Leisha, that there's something in front of us that could be slowing our ship down. Bronze, good morning. We have to understand. We have to be observant. We have to be aware of whatever it is that is in front of us, and glance a little bit behind us, right? Just to make sure that no enemies or things like that are trailing us. But the problem is, we take these ships for granted. We take it like, oh, it ain't going nowhere. You know, we could take our time. It's not as fast as a plane. It's not as fast as a train. We can go with the flow. But sometimes, like I said, there's things that get in the way of that, right? Just imagine if this was the old days and your engine wasn't running. You would need these winds to push your ship to go where you need to go. So just imagine if there wasn't nothing, there's no energy of wind or the engine gives out. How do we navigate it? Do we go down there and try to fix it? Or like do we just abandon ship? How are we doing these things? What must we do in order for us to get from point A to point B? It's simple. We must know what ship we're getting on. If we're getting into a relationship of being a boyfriend and girlfriend, a stale ship. Yeah, I ain't gonna talk about that one. Well, we can talk about that. But are we gonna get down there and fix whatever the problem is? We're losing steam. We're losing power. How are we gonna get down there and figure it out? We must know what we're getting into before we get into any of these ships, right? We must understand that these ships have a capacity, right? The maximum capacity a lot of people don't want to fulfill on these ships because it's too much. They're afraid that if they give too much or it's too much weight on it, it's going to crumble just because. No, you have to understand each of these ships have a foundation. Riaz, good afternoon. And each of these ships, with each foundation, you must understand it's able to withhold whatever or whoever is going to be on these ships. So if we understand that we should not be worried about what's under our feet, we need to worry about what's going to keep us afloat on these ships if anything happens. But we'll never know that if we don't have the communication to verbalize what we like, what we don't like. You know, what we like about this ship, what we don't like about this ship, what we like about this cruise. How long will we be on this cruise? Many people gonna say, well, we'll be here for a while. What's a while? Is it a month? Is it a day? Is it 6 months? Whatever. You got to understand that you must know what the destination of each ship is going to be. And because we mix up a lot of these ships, will never know the destination of it because we could be going in the wrong direction. Right? If we trying to have a partnership in business, that does not mean we should be having a partnership outside of the business. You understand what I'm saying? We should not be having a friendship if we're trying to elevate from into a companionship and into the highest of ships, which I ain't gonna speak about, which is marriage. We should not be entangling. We don't need to. If we are in individual relationships, we should not be intertwining with third and fourth parties unless it's that type of partnership. You see how it goes in different waves, and we try to add things into a situation. A lot of the times we mess the boats up. Whatever the ship is, if it's a friendship, we mess it up by bringing unaligned people to go to a destination that we're not going to, right? And if we're fellowshipping, we should be all on one accord about where we're going. We should not be going to. If we're going to Hawaii, we should not be looking to go to Bermuda. And that's what we do a lot of the times. We bring people on these ships of ours, and they don't belong there. They don't belong there because they don't have the like-mindedness of what we have. So they don't want to see where our destination is. You know what I mean? So we have to understand that communication is a part of all of these ships that must go into life's waters. How many people have thought that this person we just met, we could make them a companion, but they want to courtship, right? We have people have tendency of aligning ships that don't belong together, especially when it's two individuals. We have to understand that we should not be. If we're not strong enough, we need to find land and get off whatever ship it is. A lot of us think that we can swim by jumping off that ship, but a lot of times we're failing because we don't have the strength to do it, to handle the waves of the water that we're jumping into, because we're getting on the ships that we're not supposed to be on with certain people. It's not that you trying to make anybody an enemy, but they don't belong on the ship that they're on with you. It doesn't mean that you dislike them. They're just not for you. So we have to deal with them for however long until we find land. Hey, we porting right here, and let them get off the ship, or we get off the ship, and hopefully we can find our way back. But the problem is, there's a lot of people that don't find their way back because they get off the ship with the intent of, you know, trying to understand where they're going, and they don't know where they're going. We get on the wrong ship, and we think, damn, how do I get back to where I started from? It's going to take us longer to get back to where we started because we got on the wrong ships, and that's a lot of us. It's not, and that's an everyday occurrence. You think you're building something with this individual or these partnerships, and it doesn't go the way that you want. You can leave that ship on amicable terms. You can leave that ship on good terms. But a lot of the times we get so upset that we wasted our time, that we give that ship a bad review. Oh no, the room wasn't enough. The staff was horrible. Instead of saying, I got on the wrong ship. We'll find any excuse to blame the ship, but not the individual who was on the ship, which is more than likely us. Sometimes we got to hold ourselves accountable about the ships that we're getting on, the destinations that we want to go to, and it wasn't for us. It's okay to say we made a mistake. That cruise wasn't for us. If you like that cruise, I recommend you go on. You take that friendship, but it just wasn't for me. I don't like certain individuals, so I will never have that friendship cruise again. But we so busy trying to find what's wrong with the situation, and not really look at our roles in the situation. How did we make it bad? We can always see how the shit was good when we was on it, but we never hold ourselves accountable when things go wrong, or it goes left. We have to understand, Lady Shay, good morning. We have to understand that each ship is its own ship. And when it's its own ship, we don't have to combine the ships together, and, and, and say that it was a wrong choice. Sometimes you can connect to these other ships. It's a beautiful thing when you connect to these other ships. That means you're growing. But you should not just get off the ship and connect to another one because you don't like it, or because you don't want to lose time. You don't want to lose something. Each of these ships means growth. It should mean growth. That you're trusting the waters that it's sailing on. But it doesn't mean you abandon the ship when the waters are murky. But we have a tendency of getting off the ship because they're murky, instead of trying to wait it out. As soon as we see the first thing, nope, nope, I'm jumping over right now. And that's not what it goes. Like I said, you don't know what a rafts are. You don't have no suit to help you float out there in the water. And a lot of us are getting on these ships knowing good and well we can't swim, but we're doing it because everybody else is doing it. No, you must be prepared for each and every ship that you get on. You should know about each and every ship that you're getting on. You should know the exit routes. You should know, okay, if anything happens, as far as overhead, where do we have to be if we get into a typhoon, or if we are embracing on high winds, which could be a hurricane. We must know how to secure ourselves on each and every ship, and not just say, you know what, this ship is going to be smooth sailing, because we already know in life everything ain't smooth sailing. So we have to know what ship, what's the ship we getting on, what's the capacity, we must know all of these things, right? We must know that on a friendship, the friendship can only take for so much. The tolerance of the sea, it can only do so, it can only hold on for so long. It may get turbulent. Well, not turbulent because that's in the air, but the waters start, the waves start getting higher at certain times. We must be prepared for those type of things. But because we just think this ship is so grand, we don't expect those type of things. But when it comes, like I said, we all get frantic. We all start talking about the worst of the worst on the ship instead of remembering that, hey, the good did outweigh the bad in each of these ships. I recommend you take that ship. Hey, Lady Shay, why don't you get on that friendship? Go on ahead and get into that partnership. Riaz, go on ahead and get in that fellowship. Bronze, you go ahead and get into that relationship. You see what I'm saying? We just speak so bad about a thing when worse comes up that we forget that these ships are really good for what it's supposed to be there for. But so many people give bad reviews of these ships that a lot of people, I don't want to take a chance on that ship. Nah, I heard about that. But companionship could be a great ship for somebody. It's going to a place where, you know what, I don't want to be in that relationship, but it's leading me to want to take that ship when I get back on land. I could take my next cruise on that ship. We have to be open and honest about where we're going. What is our destination? What boat do we need to get on to reach said destination? Do we get on a fellowship to have a relationship, to be friends, or are we trying to go higher than friendship? Because marriage is a boat all on its own. Even though it can relate to all of these ships, marriage is something that water that's the highest of waters. You going towards the North Pole or the South Pole with that type of water. Why? Because that ship is going somewhere that a lot of people, for a lot of us, it's damn near unmarked territory, because a lot of us don't know what that consists of, or know people that has even been on that ship or are still on that ship, right? So those are the things that we must understand. Yes, life water is large. We understand that, but it doesn't mean we're going to hit every destination. Friendship may not go the same place as a relationship. So we should not be expecting it to go there. Partnership does not go the same place as fellowship. But we must understand that if it doesn't mean that it's any better or worse. We must try each ship when we're ready to get on the ship. We can't be afraid of the water that it's going to embark in. Miss Chicago, good morning. And those are the things that we have to understand. Yes, they all sound the same. Excuse me, they all sound the same in meaning and with the word ship at the end of it, but they all have its own individual basis for you. Meet good morning. And those are the things that we have to understand. Know what ship you're getting on, one, and also know what the ins and outs of those ships is, so you can get well. So once you get to the destination, you either going to recommend it or you're going to ask for the next ship, which could be anything. You're in a relationship, you may want to you may want to go on and improve on that relationship to what's the next biggest boat for that ship? What's the next biggest boat for partnership? Another partnership. Okay, well, where's that one going? Is that going to lead me to a higher place? Let me get on that one. That one was bumpy. The water got out. It got out of hand a little bit, but the partnership handled that wave very well. We rocked a little bit. We swayed like these trees are swaying, but besides that, we made it through. I like this partnership I want to get on this partnership again. Not to say, not to say that it's ending with the individual, but it's ending by going to point B. Do I want to keep going with this partnership? Let's go. Do I want to keep going with this relationship? Let's go. Do I want to continue with this companionship? Let's go. Oh, this friendship is awesome. You may want a different package on the bigger boat. See what I'm saying? All of these things have different levels to it. We have to understand that there can be higher situations for us in each of these ships. They may have a new package for us when we get to the to point B. Do you want to continue or not? But if we don't know where we're going, it was okay. But I'll stop right here. Oh, I don't like what happened when it rains on the boat and we don't have no entertainment package. We don't know how to consume ourselves because we're not walking on, we're not walking through the boat in the rain. These things must be outlined and planned before anybody gets on any ship. Just because the sun is out all the time, it doesn't mean that it's not going to rain. And just because it's a clear night, it doesn't mean that the moon is not going to affect the waters of your life on any of these ships. You can get on that ship too, Meek, but I didn't want to touch that proprietorship. I didn't want to touch the all the other ships. But I'm just talking about these few because these are the everyday thing for the everyday person. All of us have been in on these ships at one time or another. All of us have given good reviews, and some of us have given bad reviews. Excuse me. Some of us ain't even wait till we got to the destination. I'm getting off this now. This is too much right here. The waters is too much. It feels like the boat is gonna turn over, even though it just rocked a little bit, right? We have all been in those situations. We've all said, you know what? Uh-uh. I'm getting seasick. I don't like this boat because I'm seasick. It's making me sick. I don't know what it is, but it's making me sick. I got motion sickness. Oh my God, it's hurting my stomach. The food on this ship is horrible. We find the things that we don't give the whole ride or the whole length of time, but we find the first thing and we ready to get off that thing. We can't keep doing that on these ships. We gotta wait it out. That one day can't should not outrule the other 6 good days that you had on that ship or the other however many days. But a lot of us make that one day the worst day. I will never get on that. But wait a minute, we did the hokey pokey on the ship. We did the slow dances on that ship. But you worrying about that one day that you wasn't that it went wrong? Please hurry up and get me there. I don't know. Can you send a helicopter? Get me off the ship right now. I'm gonna jump. No, we gotta stop abandoning the ship. The ship can actually be good for the individual that's on it. We have to stop running soon as we see quote unquote rough seas. We may be strong enough to handle those rough seas. And, once the seas smooth out, it could be smooth sailing after that. Both ships are going to have rough seas. We have to understand, we got to navigate through that. And if you don't feel like you don't have to be the captain of the ship in order for the ship to go well. It's okay. You have to have people around you with understanding that can help you get through whatever rough waters that you're getting ready to go through. You got to understand that, hey, we have to be 70% of the world is full of water. You want to look for the 30%. A lot of people got good things in their ships, but they look at the 20% that's bad. So 80% of the ship is good. You want to find the 20% that's bad and then want to jump ship to see if you can find the other 20. Not understanding that more than the majority of the ship is made for you. You find out that you want to find the things that's small enough, and then that's not for you, and you want to abandon ship, or you want to hurry up and get off the ship because the 20% is not for you. Yeah, the dance floor may not be good, but the company that you keep in may be great. So we just gonna dance. We going when we feel like dancing, we'll dance. But understand that that companionship should be better. Should be more than enough to keep you on the ship. Yeah, they don't cook the food like you cook the food, but it's manageable to eat. It's not hurting your stomach. But because it's not the way you cooked it, it's not the way you seasoned it, or whatever, a lot of people abandon the ship. Just because you didn't season it, it doesn't mean it's not good. It's just not the way you season it. Sometimes we have to make the adjustments on the ships that we're on. If it ain't killing you, what they say, what don't kill you makes you stronger. Maybe that could be the case on that ship for you. Oh, I understand why you did it that way. I understand why we had to look at it from that perspective. I never looked at it that way. It can lead you down the right path. But we're so busy to get up out of there. Word, good morning, my 33 brothers. Right? You gotta understand that these ships are made for each and every one of us. Stop ready to jump it because the first day is bad. Take your time. Because a lot of us understand that the ship is fun for us anyway. We're gonna get on it because it ended too. It's over because it was fun, and when fun times come, think time moves faster for you. What's the difference between abandoning the ship and just your preference? Well, if you are more than likely okay, let's just go about it this way, right? You prefer companionship, right? And it's like I said, you got on a companionship, right? And your preference was not to really get, just to have an association. Let's just say fellowship. You get on a fellowship, right? And all of y'all supposed to have, you have the same interests, right? We just want to enjoy the water and enjoy the views of the ship that we're on this fellowship, right? But now you come to understand that, wait a minute, I don't really like the views that I'm getting. I don't like the vision that I'm seeing on this ship, right? But that's your preference in the beginning. Sometimes in the in the middle of life, our perspectives, our preferences change. So a lot of people want to hurry up and just get off the ship because I don't like the way it's going. So you abandon the ship. But you asking me what's the difference? And your preference has a thing of changing. And then when you change, the abandoning of the ship is because you no longer like what you have in front of you. You don't like the view, you don't like the food, you don't like the music, you don't like the room, you don't like nothing. You're ready to get up out of there. It's no longer what you prefer anymore. So it's not that it's a difference of between a preference and abandoning the ship. It's just the fact that you may not like the view of where of how you once had envisioned it in your mind. That's why we have to understand what we have to be understanding of what ship we're getting on before we get on it, right? You get on a friendship, right? And then the friendship turns into a courtship. You didn't understand that the courtship was going to be part of it. It was unexpected. So you get scared because all you wanted to do is just be friends. And then it turns around for some strange reason. It's going, the flow of the ship is so well that you trying to elevate, you trying to get to the next destination, or you trying to get to the next package of the ship, and didn't even know that was part of the package that you had. Now you get into a courtship, like, wait a minute, I'm starting to like this person too much. Oh my God, I'm scared. I don't know what to do. But anytime you've been on a companionship before, it wasn't your speed. So you have a tendency to abandon the ship. How can you know what ship you like without getting on it and looking at it? Well, how do you, the same, well, how can I explain this? How can you know what ship you like without getting on it? A lot of people are getting on these ships because of the destinations, right? For example, you see a blue car. Some people just like the car because it's blue. It could be a lemon car, but you like the car because it's blue. You have to know what you have to like it for many other reasons than just that. You got to know where it's going. If you get into the hoop, the lemon car, you know that car cannot it should not be taking you far enough. But if it gets you to the destination, you're gonna try it again. You're gonna try it again. Now we forgetting that it's a lemon car and it may break down. It's the same thing on these ships. The ships could break down, but if we don't know that we're getting on a tugboat instead of a cruise liner, we're not gonna know. We don't know the difference. If we don't have the understanding of knowing what the difference is, we must we must know what we're getting into before we get into it. If we getting on this friendship, we must understand that the friendship, it has a possibility of taking us somewhere else to where we got a different package waiting for us when we get back. Or we can just dock where it's at, get off, and hopefully find our way back. But a lot of us are just getting on the boats because everybody else is getting on these ships. See what I'm saying? Well, I guess I need to get on this friendship because everybody's doing it. It's not about what everybody should not be affecting your crew. Everybody shouldn't be affecting how your ship is sailing. You are going to be the main person on each and every ship. So you must know what ship you want to be on, where is it going, and what the possibilities is on these ships. You must be prepared for all possibilities. Okay. Now, okay, we got listen, we lose, like I said, we going on this ship and okay, do we have life raft just in case? I need to know that. How much can it hold? I need to hold that. I need to know that, excuse me. Uh 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 what is added to my package? What is on this ship that I can use just in case the storm is coming? Do I have reception of any type of alertness of bad weather that was coming in? All of these things you must know if it's on the ship, it's operational, so on and so forth. But a lot of us are just getting on these ships with just us, no luggage, no bag. Think we ain't got no baggage and none of that stuff. It's not gonna. Our weight is not gonna be affected because this boat is so big. No, if you can affect anything, you the individual can affect anything on the ship. Your presence could be a plus or a minus on the ship, just like anybody else's presence could be a plus or a minus on the ship. You must know that you know what you are getting into, what you are embarking on before you get on any other of them ships. I think settling for a ship just because can cause trouble than inspecting the ship or jumping ship when you realize it's not what you. I agree with that, but that's one of the situations that people don't plan on when they settle. I was talking to somebody and I was saying that people settle when they are tired of striving for what they want. So in other words, if we trying to get a relationship, we too busy. We don't want to do all the work. Soon as we stop, we asking it when is the friendship coming through? All because we're tired of putting the work in for the relationship, and we're just going to settle that this is not for us. We do this all the time because a lot of the time we feel like we don't have the energy to keep going. Just imagine if the ship itself lost energy. It's going to waver. It's going to be stuck. I don't want to feel stuck. So we need to have enough energy to get to land and we can dock and get off this thing and we can fix it. But a lot of people don't even want to fix the ship if there's engine problems. They ready to throw it out. If you got car problems and you don't know what it is, you ready to sell it and get another car. That's what we do. Instead of understanding that these cars, these ships are gonna have problems, we need to understand what happened. If for example, if we're losing steam, back in the day, they knew they had to get wood or whatever to keep the steamboat going. We know for sure if there's no breezes like we see the trees swaying in the background. If there's no breeze, we know that ship ain't gonna go nowhere. Now we got to sit there and figure out how can we get this ship to move with no steam. Now we stuck. Now how do we are we even situated for the stagnation of the ship now because there's no wind to blow the sails. We need to understand what we're doing before what the ship's situations are, or what's the plus and minuses, and have expectation that it can occur. But because we just all right, it's occurring and I wasn't expecting that I'm ready to jump the ship. We can't keep going through life like that. We have to understand that the ship got its good things and got its bad things. But when we enter the ship, we should be having an expectation of the ship having its good sail instead of worrying about what if. If that's the case, don't get on the ship in the first place. Stay yourself on land. Stay yourself on something that you can control. We have a fear of 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 the ship going down like the Titanic, and it could be smooth sailing like any other ship. Sometimes we make the minor number large, and because that minor number is large, we think the ship is going to hit an iceberg, and in no cold water, but we expecting the iceberg, or just because we out at sea, we expecting to see sharks circling the ship. No, you can be away from all of those things, but your expectation of the worst can ruin the ship before you get on it. Those are the things that we have to understand. It could be it. A lot of us expected murky water when the water is as blue as the sky. We only seen brown water because of our local areas. But when we go out into the deep, hey, this water is absolutely beautiful. We didn't even expect it to be beautiful because all we seen is murky, dirty water. That could be a hindrance to the enjoyment of the ship in the first place because all we seen is brown, murky water. It's just like somebody going to Bermuda. I never knew they had beautiful water in Bermuda. Yeah, why? Because you saw the local waters of America, and you saw the filth that we have done to the set. Beautiful, and when it is beautiful, you have to understand that we have to preserve it to keep it that. We got to fight to keep it that way. It's the same way on these ships. You have to fight to make sure that these ships go the way that you want it to go. You must preserve the peace that you get on them ships. You must preserve the joy that you're getting on that ship. You must preserve the happiness that you're getting on these ships. But 9 times out of 10, we just going with the flow. Oh, this is so good. But as soon as something happened, oh my God, I don't know. It ruined the whole entire ship. Stop allowing the bad to outweigh the good on these ships. I promise you, if you get on these ships, it'll all connect you to the next one, and greater things can be on all of these ships. You just have to be ready for that time to come. So many of us is expecting. I'm afraid of boats. Why are you afraid of boats? Because I saw what happened to the Titanic. No, you got to get on your own. You got to get on your own ship to see if it's for you. Sometimes we got to tackle the fears of these ships. We got to overcome the fears of the ships. Because if we overcome it, we'll understand that the smooth waters is enjoyable. It's pleasurable. It keeps us at peace. It allows our life to flow in a way that we never had because we always saw the negative of the thing and not the positive. Those are the things that we got to do. We got to overcome certain things. We got to overcome that. Well, the last friendship that I was on, it was no good because they was only worried about themselves. It sailed into its own direction. No, maybe this ship, the friendship, the new ship that you're getting on will be for you. Can you build your own ship? It just make more sense to me to create your own ship. That way you know what to expect. I don't know. I don't do shit. But the funny thing is, you can create a ship, right? And you can maximize or minimize whoever comes on and off said ship. But your job in building that ship is to make sure that you can partner with certain ship. If you make a friendship, you can turn that friendship into a courtship. You got to make sure that where where you going, this can get better, right? We can start our own courtship. It's just like any other partnership. It has room for growth. All of these ships have room for growth. The problem is that we get on the ships with the wrong expectation, or we get on the wrong ship because we thought the friendship was the relationship that we wanted, or we get on the fellowship and thought it was the companionship that we wanted. Sometimes we mix the wrong. We think the ships have duality when it only set for one purpose and one destination in your life. But we think that it's going to go everywhere that it wants to go. No, not all of these ships does that. You got to understand what the destination of the ship is going. You might think this ship is going to cruise around the world. You only going from New York to Miami. In New York, we got ferries. That ferry is short. Some people might think it's longer than that. You understand what I'm saying? You got a ferry that goes from Staten Island to Manhattan. You think it's going to go to Queens or Brooklyn. No, it's going to that said destination. You must understand where it's going. So if you get on the wrong ship, you got to now figure out how to get to that destination that you want to go to. We must know what these ships consist of. We must understand the destination of those ships, and we must be prepared that if it doesn't go that way, I know how to get to that destination anyhow. We must understand that the rafts of the ship. We must understand that the life jackets on the ship, it fits us just in case. We have to know all of these things before we get on any of these ships. You gotta know where you want to go. That's the first thing about getting on anything, whether it's a ship, a plane, a bus, whatever. You must understand what your destination is. Why are you trying to get to that destination? It's just harder on the ships of life because these things, it has a way of not getting there at the pace that you want. For most of us, we understand that most ships are slower than this is the slowest way of transportation. It was that way hundreds of years ago. Oh my God, I don't know if I could be on this ship for 9 months. Just imagine those people that was being transported on because they didn't want to be on that ship. Just think about the slave. Just think about the transcontinental slave movement. There was people on boats for months. They act like they was getting millions of people. They didn't even have the technology, right? Them white people didn't know. Well, damn, if that's it, if we don't got the wind, we're gonna be sitting out there until it starts to blow. It might have taken them 6 months with 600 people losing. You know what I'm saying? Not to even go into that subject. You must understand. You got to understand that the line to your destination must be clear, one, and you must have the power to do so. If you don't, you're going to be stuck on life's ocean. Those are the things that we must understand. We gotta be prepared for any and all things, but we're not a lot of the time. Man, y'all talking about sea ships, and I'm building a spaceship and leaving all. You know what word? Now here's a question for you. Now, are you prepared? Are you prepared if that ship don't go to the destination you want because the firmament may hold you back? Would you be ready for that? How are you prepared for that? See, it doesn't matter what type of ship you on, whether it's the ships on life's water or the ship above life itself. You got to understand what the destination is. You must know if the firmament is real or not if you're taking that spaceship. If not, you just flying with the clouds. It's no different. Now what happens when you're ready to land? Do you got enough rocket fuel to steady yourself while it lands? Same thing with with the ship. Do we have enough engine power for it to last? Do we have enough fuel to allow the engine to keep working? All of these things need to be done. But the problem is because we ain't paying for the ship, we're not worried about none of it. We just go on with the flow. A lot of people ain't asking questions about none of these ships. And that's the problem. Well, what happens if we run out of if the ship runs out of gas. Oh well, we're gonna have to wait for somebody to come. Well, how are we gonna manage ourselves? Do you have preparations for that? If we stuck out here for a week, do you have 3 weeks worth of food? Do we have 3 weeks worth of water? If it rains during those 3 weeks, how are we secure? All of these questions need to be asked. Life water is very large. It's not just no, it's not a pond. It's not a lake. Life itself is an ocean. You must know how to navigate the ocean in order to get to where you get to and have smooth sailings in it. And that's the thing that we have to understand. My ship also got time travel. Here you go. Well, do me a favor. Since your ship got time travel, tell me how they got millions of people to America when when it, if it ain't doing what it's doing right in my background, they were stuck out there for 2, 3 months. That's what people gotta understand. You gotta go with the flow. That's why hurricanes rock. Only at that certain amount of time. It's the water is warm enough for it to occur at that time. It gives it strength. But even on these ships, it has to do the same thing. Like I said, they saying they brought hundreds of millions of people over here, but how? It took y'all 6 months to get here, and then you got to go 6 months back, and then 6 months again, and then 6 months again, and then 6 months again. Y'all didn't have armadas. Y'all had sailboats. Y'all needed the current of the wind and hope that the wind ain't turn into a hurricane. Hope your ship can hold it all together. You gotta know that these ships are lasting. So you gotta do what you gotta do while the waves are going the way they're going. So y'all just understand that y'all gotta take your time on these ships, whatever the ship is, whether it's relationships, friendships, companionship, whatever. You gotta do what you gotta do. They lied to you all. They was already here. But that's the thing. They gotta know that those ships wasn't even prepared for none of those either. But they just going with it because they don't want to do the research of how those ships were going back then. So if they ain't doing it then, they didn't do the research back then. Are we doing it now? We gotta understand where these ships are going, what the destination is, and how many people it can hold, and all of those things. But we're not even doing the research. We just getting on the ship because our friends are getting on the ship, or our associates are getting on the ship, or because we were recommended by somebody just because they gave it a good review. All cruises are not good cruises. All destinations ain't good destinations. How many people gonna get on a cruise to Antarctica? Why not? See what I'm saying? You gotta know what the cruise consists of, how the boat can handle the capacity, and how the boat is gonna handle you, the individual. But we gotta do the research. And at the end of the day, we ain't doing none of that. So a lot of us are getting on wrong ships. People are getting on friendships and thinking that's gonna be the ship to marriage. And it ain't got nowhere near that destination, but we think it is because we think all ships are the same, and they're not. So it's just a lot. We just got to understand that life waters is in front of us, and we all have to embark on this ship. Please know where you're going. Please know what the ship, how the ship can handle you, and how you can sail with that ship. And even if it gets rough, don't abandon it because a lot of us don't know how to swim in those big ass waters. So with that being said, y'all, I appreciate y'all stopping by. Uh, if anything made if the conversation makes sense, hit the like button. And until next time, guys, I'll see you guys later. I'm out. What happened, Dave? You ain't want to go in the garage?